everybody, Levi Clay here, and in this short lesson, what I'm going to be focusing on today is helping you take your pentatonic visualization skills to the next level. Now, this is a concept that's taken from, well, actually a lot of my guided practice routines. If you've been following my guided practice routines either on Patreon or in my first 3 guided practice routine books, in fact, kind of like a discrete advert for the fact that my latest book, which is a compilation of those 3 books, is out and available now. So do go and check out the link below and grab yourself a copy of that on Amazon. It's been a really well received selection of books. So to be able to get all 3 of those books, well over 300 pages, 30 full routines for you to practice over a course of 30 weeks. Lots of value there, so you'll have a lot of fun with that. So what is it we're exactly looking at today? Well, pentatonic scales are something that as guitar players we all have to play. It's a big part of our playing lives. It fits in most of the music that we play. In fact, I'd go as far as saying it fits with all of the music that we play. But what I tend to find about guitar players is we tend to be lacking in our knowledge of the scale and to be able to fluidly play the scale absolutely anywhere required in any key. So let's jump on over to the guitar and I'm going to show you a lovely little exercise which you haven't been practicing, but you absolutely should. Okay, so I'm sat here with my trusty Strat, and what we're going to be focusing on here is looking at pentatonic scales in 5 shapes, which some of you may already be familiar with, but I find that it's the ability to be able to play whatever pentatonic scale is necessary without hesitation that's the real struggle. So why is that? Well, I think it's because we all learn the same pentatonic scale first. If I play a G minor pentatonic scale, it looks and sounds like this. Put a blues note in there. This is a sound that we're familiar with. I'm sure we've all played it. But what tends to happen is we learn that position and we learn it first, and then we move on and learn the next shape. And then when you're comfortable with that, you learn the next shape. And this mentality of always learning the next shape means that you always know that first shape better than any of your other shapes. So if you're playing with people in the key of E flat and that's your comfort shape, you have to move that shape up to somewhere where you can find it. And we don't want to be kind of limited by our knowledge of scale positions to be able to do that. If our hand is here on the fretboard and you need to play E flat minor, no hesitation. If your hand's here and you need to play F minor, there's no hesitation in that. So in order to practice this, I give my students the exact same chord progression to play things over. Now there's a bit of prerequisite knowledge required to really master this lesson, but if you don't have it, you can use this lesson as an ass kicker to make you go and learn this stuff. So that's 5 pentatonic shapes. So I'm going to play through those real quickly for you and give you the key information. The important thing here is focusing where the root note lands or where the root note sits, or the position from which we visualize each one of these scales. So we don't see everything in relation to shape 1. If you need to play G minor pentatonic shape 3, you should do this. We shouldn't have to go 1, 2, 3 to find it. We should just know how to access each one of these shapes. So when we play minor pentatonic shape 1, and I'll do this all in G, we're visualizing a root note from here, the 3rd fret on the low E string. So if I just play that as a scale that you're familiar with. We're familiar with that position. And that's us visualizing, as I say, 3rd fret low E string. We want to be able to do the same thing, but starting on root notes on the A string as well. So what a lot of guitar players will do is they'll play what I would call shape 4, or the A shape, and that would be the same root note, G, but now played with the index finger here on the A string. And there's a pattern here. We would play this. Very similar to what we played down here. And of course, if you're unfamiliar with that, you need to go back and learn that. But we should know that. And the focus is the root note is there, 10th fret on the A string, visualized with our root finger. Now I point this out because there's another shape that visualizes from that root note, and that would be if we play that same root note with our third finger. Now when I play this pentatonic pattern, let's take a look at that nice and slowly. That's 10 and 8 across most of the strings. So we start 10, 8, 10, 7, 10, 8, 11, and then 8, 10. So when I play that, that's a pattern that I visualize from that root note on the A string. And we want to spend our time really getting comfortable with that. So if somebody said, I want you to play F minor in shape 3, I know that that means to find that F note with my third finger and play that pattern. So I can just find that position in that area. We should be able to do that anywhere. So if I needed to play C minor, so on and so forth. That's our third shape. We could also play another pattern starting with the root note on the low E string, but rather than using our index finger, we could use our third finger. I'm going to take this up an octave so we can have a little bit more space. This would be what you call a G shape or shape 5. It's going to look like this. So classic shape, it gets played a lot, but how confidently could we access it? Let's take a look at and break it down nice and slowly for you. There's 15, 13, 15, 12, 15, 12, 15, 13, 15, 13, 15. And now because I know this, I could play that starting on any note. So if I needed to play it in C, or B flat, or F, I can just access that scale information. That's 4 of our shapes, 1, 3, 4, and 5. The final shape would be shape 2, or the D shape. Now this is a trickier one because the root note for this really exists on the D string. And I don't tend to do a lot of my visualizing from the D string, but we do need to know it. So if I play it for you, it's going to start on the G note here again at the 5th fret on the D string. That's the basic pattern, right? And what are we playing there? Well, 5, 8, 5, 7, 6, 8, 6, 8. And again, because of that, I could play this in any key. So if I needed to play D minor, if I needed to play B flat minor, if I needed to play A minor, I can just find these patterns from those root notes, from those given root notes. So when you know that, when you have that information locked in place, well, then it's about moving and playing full chord progressions using these scales. So I have a nice little chord progression for you here that starts on an A minor, or an A minor 7 technically. It goes to a C minor 7, then a D minor 7, an F minor 7, and then a G minor 7. So again, A minor, C minor, D minor, F minor, G minor. And we really, really need to know that chord progression, because the exercise that I'm going to give you to practice is going to be using that chord progression and keeping our hand in one place on the neck. So we're going to play round that chord progression using all 5 shapes, but keeping our hand in an area. So if I wanted to play A minor pentatonic, I'm sure you're all familiar, and probably the first thing you learned, you would jump to this. That's the first octave of that scale. That's the lowest part, and yeah, that's an A minor pentatonic scale. But we're moving to C minor after this. So when playing this, you really want to be thinking not about what you're playing, but about where you're going. So when I'm playing this, I'm actually looking for my C root note, and I can see my C root note here at the 8th fret on the low E string. Now, I don't want to do this. Play the same shape, but move my hand. I want to try and keep my hand where it is. So if I were to play that C root note, I'm going to go for it with my third finger. Now I need to be able to plug in my scale shapes, right? My patterns. So we're going to play the fifth shape, or G shape. Now, same principle. After this C minor, we had a D minor. So I'm playing C minor. From here, we need to move to D minor. Well, where is my D? I don't want to move up the neck. I want to stay where I am. Where's my D root note? Here at the 5th fret on the A string. Okay, so which pattern fits on that? Well, that's going to be our A shape. Same idea, when I'm playing this, I'm asking myself, what's my next scale? Well, it's going to be F. Here at the 8th fret. So I'm going to play my C shape. And next we're going to have G. Well, where is G? Here at the 5th fret. Now, what we've done there is we played through that chord progression. A minor, C minor, D minor, F minor, and then we'll play G minor like this. Now that's a visualization exercise more so than anything. It's not a technical challenge, it's a mind challenge. Now what you're going to see in the play along of this, which is of course included at the end of the video, what I do there is I play that starting here, but then I move up to the next position. And we should be able to do that, right? If A minor is here, around this area of the fretboard, A is going to be at the 7th fret on the D string. It's my D shape. And then the next chord is going to be C minor. Well, C is down here on the 8th fret of the low E string. That's shape 1. And, you know, I'm playing phrases now, but at its core, it's a minor pentatonic pattern. Next up, we're going to have D minor. It's going to be here. That's going to be my G shape. Next up, we're going to have to go to F minor. Well, here at the 8th fret. As long as I can see the note, then I can see my pattern. And then finally, G minor, here at the 10th fret on the A string. That's our G minor. I can do that anywhere on the fretboard, and that's the key thing. I'm using the chord progression as a way to train the brain. I'm using the chord progression to create stress on my thinking when I play, because if we can induce stress on the brain when we're practicing, then you really start to make progress in your playing. So if I just do one more position for you, let's say I'm up here. I'm starting here in the A shape of A minor. So my A minor is going to be rooted here. My C minor will be rooted here. My D minor will be rooted here. My F minor, rooted here. My G minor will be rooted here. So now A minor, C minor, D minor, F minor, G minor. So there's no hesitation there. Now, if you want to make it more advanced, well, then maybe you try and do the top part of each scale. C minor, D minor, F minor, G minor. I could just go around that chord progression endlessly because I've learned to be able to fluently visualize each one of these pentatonic patterns, and I've got a lot of stuff that I can play around them. But at its core, if you work on that chord progression, A minor, C minor, D minor, F minor, G minor, it's going to force you to practice these pentatonic scales without bias. And there we have it, guys, my favourite exercise for practicing pentatonic work on the guitar, which should really help elevate your playing to the next level. As usual, if you have any questions about any of this, please do let me know in that comment section below. And if you've enjoyed this lesson, hit that subscribe button. Or if you really want to support the channel, go and grab a copy of my latest book, that Guided Practice Routines for Guitar, the complete compilation. Lots of value there. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun with it. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you again for more in the future. Much love, laters.